All right, folks, we got Carter here to talk LSU football. What could be better on a spring day? Spring football, recruiting, a lot of good things headed toward the 2023 season. You can catch Carter, of course, on Power Hour LSU right here on YouTube. Also, Power Hour SEC. Carter, what's going on, man?
What's up, Mark? Just trying to enjoy spring football as much as one can. But yeah, it was interesting. I was doing a show last night and I was celebrating a few different programs. I was celebrating LSU, I was celebrating Oregon, and I was celebrating programs that play really difficult opponents in week one. And it is so interesting and fun as an LSU fan that you play Florida State for the second straight year in week one, and then the next year you play USC. And I know you, being a college football junkie, you love this. I mean, these programs never play. This isn't like college basketball where you're able to play like just a crazy non-conference schedule and you'll get to see Gonzaga and Duke and Michigan State and whoever. It's beautiful that LSU and most notably Oregon does this, and I love it. That means you're not scared. That means you're confident in your program, and it also shows that you're not afraid to put someone really difficult to start off the season.
I love it. It's funny that you would bring that up today and also go back to your show on yesterday and spotlight that, because I did the same thing in the last couple live streams I had. I scolded the Big Ten, looked at the non-conference schedule, said, not good enough. It's not good. Not enough good quality opponents to test yourself in non-conference and for us to enjoy as college football fans.
Yeah.
Not good enough. 0 games between the Big Ten and the SEC. That should not happen.
Never. And what was interesting is so let's just take, for instance, and I promise we'll get into LSU stuff. I didn't think Brian Harsin was going to work at Auburn. I just didn't, right? I was very vocal about it when it happened. But then again, you look back at it, he did have to play Penn State in the non-conference both years. And he caught Kirby at his absolute peak, who he had to play every year. And then, of course, Alabama is Alabama. So, I mean, he wasn't a great coach, but he was also a guy that was dealing with a stacked deck. And, when I see a school like Auburn, these last couple of years schedule Penn State, a home and home as well. It wasn't a neutral site thing. That just gets me excited. It really, really, really does. And as LSU fans, a few years ago when the Texas game didn't get played because of the Rona in 2020, people were so disappointed about it because the LSU Texas game in Austin was so visceral, right? I think a lot of people forget, Mark, before the game began on game day, and it's still crazy to think about. And this was before Burrow was Burrow. I know you remember this. They put the Burrow jersey in front of the cannon and they fired it. And it's just like a very visual thing. I would get like just a regular LSU shirt, but a player's number. It happened to be the most popular player on the team, the quarterback. And LSU fans really wanted that game versus Texas the next year. And it didn't happen. So, most of them are neutral sites, but man, when you get that home and home at a conference, it is iconic, baby. So iconic.
And the way that things are formatted and with the playoff expansion, I don't know that there's a lot of incentive for the elite programs to go out there and schedule tough, difficult non-conference games. We just had a Michigan team make the playoff. They didn't have to play any one non-conference.
Exactly. And this is one thing that people get wrong about college football all the time, right? And talk about this with my buddy Dave Bartu quite often, is people think of college football as a game where you should get the absolute best wins you possibly can. Who do you beat? That is wrong. That is how people view college basketball. They say RPI, who do you beat? Or net now is what they use, which, I think is a little flawed. But in college football, exactly what you just said, it's not necessarily who you beat. It's how many losses do you have, right? Whenever they start the playoff discussion, what is the first thing that people bring up? Well, they do bring up strength of schedule. They do bring up, the playoff and all of that. But the loss column is what people look at first before the actual win column. Are you a 1-loss team? Are you a 2-loss team? And I just don't like that. But that's just how it is because, there's such a finite minimum amount of games. So, a school like Michigan, it's really good for them that they don't have to play anybody in the non-conference. Nobody cares. If you just beat Ohio State, you're fine. Or if you're Ohio State, I know they played Notre Dame in the non-conference, but if you just lose one game, you're fine. And I hate that, Mark. I really do.